What's going on, everyone? Tayler Kyles and Mike Kadlick here for CLNS Media, reporting from the third day of open Patriots OTAs in a day that was very heavy on red zone work after the Patriots had mostly focused on early down plays in the previous sessions. Now, as is to be expected when you work in the red zone, this was not an easy day for the offense, obviously going against a defense that already has a lot of chemistry together, which gives even more of an advantage considering in the red zone, that's where the defense has a pretty huge advantage. So, Mike, what did you see from the Patriots, who had both 11-on-11 periods and 7 versus 7s in the red zone? We got to see some different combinations and different types of plays for each of the teams.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it wasn't great for the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, some success on the defense, which again, like you said, no pads, OTAs. Defense has been together for 3 years. It's to be expected that they're going to win the session. But some takeaways quickly. I think Jacoby Brissett looked pretty solid in his reps. I thought it was noteworthy that Drake Maye took reps over Bailey Zappe at the beginning of both 11s and 7-on-7. And guys like Jalen Polk, KJ Osborne, and Demario Douglas, for, the fact that the offense wasn't great today, I still think those guys look pretty solid in the reps they got.
For sure, yeah. Drake Maye being the guy behind Jacoby Brissett definitely stood out. We were wondering in some of our preview shows, is this going to continue to be a type of thing where the veterans are the guys who really mix in? And even Gerard Mayo said there are no depth charts in OTAs. Really, the veterans are kind of at the head of the group because you want to make sure things are running smoothly, and you also want the young guys to earn their reps. But it was prominent that, again, Drake Maye and we saw Jalen Polk get a decent amount of run. Now, with Jacoby Brissett, like you mentioned, as has been the case in all of these practices, he is the clear-cut starter. You saw him make some really impressive connections. He and Hunter Henry already have a little bit of chemistry going. Hunter Henry had a couple of his touchdowns where he always gets fired up and is very vocal after he scores. Also had a connection with Demario Douglas where Jacoby Brissett actually threw before the receiver came out of his break to beat really tight coverage. And there was another play towards the end of practice where he threaded the needle. He literally threw this in the eye of a keyhole to make a connection with Michael Petway, who was also very excited after that play. Now, Jacoby Brissett, once again, he did struggle only because coverage was suffocating for most of these reps. Patriots receivers were not getting a ton of space. Already hard to come by in such a tight area, but even tougher in these situations where it's a new offense, you're still learning, and guys are growing. So, again, Jacoby Brissett did have positive moments, but also a lot of dead plays, unfortunately. What did you see from Drake Maye?
Well, I just, quickly on Brissett, too, I think it's, we always talk about when is Maye going to start, but, I mean, right now, again, not a great day for the offense, but we saw some some shining moments from Jacoby today. Like you said, that, a couple great throws. From Maye, though, up and down, a couple interceptions. His first we've seen in live action here. Caleb Ford-Demet, I believe, was the one who picked him off. So, again, hot and cold, but it's to be expected from the rookie. A couple great plays, though. There was one play down in the red zone here. I believe it was during 7-on-7 where Drake goes through 3 progressions. His backside finds Demario Douglas across the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Sidearm throw, threaded the needle as well. So, I mean, look, we talked about it last time we were out here, but these quarterbacks, the arm strength, the ways they can put the football in places that not a lot of other quarterbacks in the league can put it, it's exciting to watch. So, again, up and down, but overall, I think it's promising to see the kind of stuff we've seen from Drake Maye so far.
Yeah, and specifically in each drill, 11-on-11s weren't really good for anybody. That was when you really saw the pass rush especially was a big factor. It was notable that Chuks Okorafor and Mike Nwenu weren't here. That probably played a big factor. It also seemed like the tackles were playing opposite the sides they usually play on, so I think that had a factor, and you saw guys like Christian Barmore were dominating up front. That shut down a lot of plays pretty quickly. Things opened up a bit more in 7-on-7s. That's where Jacoby Brissett had his success. Again, Drake Maye, where he goes on his second or third read, gets a sidearm throw to Pop Douglas, but you did see some of the struggles. I will say on the Caleb Ford-Demet interception, that was the one that really stands out as being, maybe a rookie moment where it seemed like he floated one to Juju Smith-Schuster. His second interception, though, seemed like a miscommunication with Antonio Gibson, where Drake Maye actually told us after practice he may have seen man while Antonio Gibson saw zone, and it went right to Kyle Duggar. Pop Douglas, who had an outstanding day today, was very hard to cover, had at least 4 touchdowns, actually forced a fumble on Kyle Duggar after the interception and then recovered it. So Demario Douglas, a guy that Drake Maye actually compared to one of his former favorite targets, Josh Downs, he said those guys are very similar. So Demario Douglas' stock, this is a quarterback video, but I would say his arrow is definitely pointing up. But it was a day where it seemed like Drake Maye did struggle with consistency, got a little bit rattled at times, which is to be expected. Like Gerard Mayo said early in practice, progress is not linear. These guys are going to have good days, they're going to have bad days. So don't want to read too much into it. But once again, Jacoby Brissett, still the clear-cut starter, and Drake Maye still has a ways to go.
And I'll add 2 things quickly to like the offensive line and defensive line conversation, where that's going to make it hard for a guy to, get into a rhythm because we're not in pads. It is OTAs. you're missing your left and right tackle, right? And so, they're trying to get their feet under them. Christian Barmore, who had a great day. You got to also take that with a grain of salt, which is kind of my favorite saying at OTAs, grain of salt, because, it is so early and there's no pads on, but like it's easier for a defensive lineman to get through a guy and kind of wreak havoc and cause chaos. And so, again, I just think overall, enough to take away, up and down for May. But again, like you said, progress isn't linear, so we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, one more guy that did have a good day, I'll throw in. JaMycal Hasty had a couple of touchdown catches. One was on a flat route. It wasn't super difficult, but then he had another where Juwan Bentley was very tight in coverage on a pass from Jacoby Brissett. He put it on the running back's back shoulder, and it was completed for a touchdown. One of the more impressive reps of today. That's going to do it for us. Again, much better day for the defense than the offense, which was signified by the offense having to do push-ups at the end of today's session, but we'll see how things continue. Taking a quick time out from this video to tell you about our sponsor, Prize Picks. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less, it's that easy. Make sure to subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all your Patriots news and updates on YouTube, and for all our written work, make sure you check out clnsmedia.com.